All right, welcome everyone to Hopkinton Hangout Hour. I'm Mike Terosian. I'm going to be hosting the first half hour, and we have our with us from HCAM here. We have Tom Nappy will be joining us, our news director, and our government producer, Bob Hamilton. And our first guest today will be Lisa Jackson. We're going to sit down and talk to her and find out what she's doing to stay busy these days and get some pointers on things that we can do at home as far as staying healthy. And how you doing, Tom?
I'm doing good, Mike. Uh, just at home working,
I see you. See you doing a little home projects there while you're home.
Yeah, absolutely. Just put a nice new screen front door on. Has the window screen slider. It was quite a project. Those doors are not easy to put on. It took many hours.
I I remember my first one. It took us like 5 hours, and after that, I did two more, and they were done. Each one got faster. It got better. Speaking about handyman and kind of things, Bob Hamilton, hello.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, I'm here. I haven't done any great projects like Tom, but I'm still here, so that's all
Still
I
here.
care about. I'm glad to be with you today. Thanks for
Well,
inviting me.
well, thanks for joining the conversation. So we'll have Lisa hopefully join us soon. Lisa Jackson, who heads up the local district medical reserve corps, has been very busy coordinating shelters and testing sites, and she just crazy, crazy busy. And she was able to squeeze me in between her own video meetings to talk with everybody here in Hopkins. So I'm hoping that she signs on soon so we can have something more to talk about. With us that you don't see running things is Matt Clark, who is keeping us going, and we'll see him in between segments when we're talking, going from Lisa Jackson to Coach Steve Simoes, who'll be in the next half hour. So
We
yeah,
should
Tom.
also mention that we will be taking questions and comments on today's show. If you have a question or a comment for any of the guests, you could do that via our Facebook page. There's a post at the top of the page. You could leave your comment or question right there on Facebook, or you could comment right on the YouTube stream as well, or email studio@hcam.tv.
That's right. So yeah, we'd love to have your questions because we're here hanging out, find out what everyone's doing. Myself, I've been I opened up my shop and I was going to share a picture tomorrow, but I got my little workshop going. I make models. I do airplane models and boat models and so forth. So that's what I've been doing. And now today, when we're done, I got to get the house prepped for a new addition to the family. I adopted another dog, so we're gonna get the place ready for her. Pick her up tomorrow morning.
What kind of dog is it?
It's a pit bull terrier mix, and it was a rescue dog. The dog was bred as a bait dog, and if you don't know what a bait dog is used for dog fighting. They're used for, if you will, sparring partners for the fighting dogs, and so the dog was rescued, and I will. She's being adopted by a great family in Framingham, and I met with them on Sunday. And when I get done on my shift, it's Wednesday morning, not tomorrow morning, but Wednesday morning when I get done on my shift, I'm gonna go pick her up and bring her to her new forever home.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah,
You must be excited.
I am excited. Because as you know, I just lost May last month, and it was tough. And yeah, I'm looking forward to get back and help out another puppy. So, and this one here, she's only 2 years old. Unlike May, who was an old girl, 9. So,
Well,
yeah.
and you'll have a companion to keep you company while we're all social distancing here.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I don't have to social distance from a dog, as we all know. Animals can't spread anything, so I'm uh, I'm actually looking forward to the companionship because it's tough being in a house there all by yourself, and it's definitely not an easy thing to do. And we're all doing what we can like this here to stay busy. And I never thought I'd have a job that I could actually work at home from. Usually, how do you make TV shows? Well, at a TV studio, not your house. But here we are. We're all making shows here, and of course, with the fire station, I get to at least go there twice a week now. That's my only that's my only time that the four walls change.
Right. And it's not even just us doing this. I mean, you look at the major networks, national news networks, they're all using these programs as well to stay
Right.
on the air.
Which makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. And you laugh, you see them out in their basements or on their back porch, and they're even getting more and more clever. Matt Noyes, who I follow on the NBC channel, local NBC weatherman, was usually set up on his back porch, and then he wound up getting a green screen, and now he can actually do the weather. You don't know where he is. He could actually be in the studio. But yeah, everyone's getting creative with this, and everyone's learning how to use whether Hangouts, Skype, Zoom, which the platform we're using. A lot of people are getting used to this technology because families are communicating like this.
And Mike, we had someone commenting. It was John Ritz, actually. He wants to hear about the restaurant list you got going.
Oh, yeah. So if anyone went to hcam.tv, we're hosting a list of all the restaurants that are still open and functioning, which we're trying to support all these local businesses who not only shuts down and not make any money, but there's a chance to lose your stock. Those fridges were full uh, with food that is just going to go to waste. And they came up with some very clever ideas, and you'll have places like the Spoon just reopened on Saturday after being closed for a little bit. Uh, they're doing takeout, but it's curbside pickup only. You don't even come to the door; they'll come to you, and they're offering these little neat dinner packages where here's the food, you make the dinner. So it's nice. So here's a dinner idea, you make it so it's like a do-it-yourself assemble kit. But they do have specials. Uh, so on the site, if you go to hcam.tv and you look on the right, we got a pin to the top of the page, and that's updated as things change. You will see phone numbers and websites to the address. It will also tell you who's doing pickup and who's also doing delivery, as well as the curbside delivery. I mean, curbside pickup. So I keep that list maintained, and as it changes, it will be changed because I'm in touch with all the restaurants, and that was a nice little thing to put together. And we tell people, especially it starts around Thanksgiving time. Hey, support your local businesses. And what's more important at this time, I feel, is we should be supporting our businesses. These are the businesses that you go out to, and you say, "Hey, can you sponsor my team, the Little League? Hey, can you do? Can you donate a gift certificate for our fundraiser or whatever?" These businesses are there for you. Now it's time for you to be there for them. And even if you have your refrigerator full or whatever, go out there and support them. Show them the support. Get a meal. Let them cook for you one night or one afternoon or something. Support your local businesses.
One thing I've been doing is I've been getting some takeout from establishments around here, and I always make sure to leave a bigger tip than I normally would because you got to keep in mind a lot of the restaurant workers are going from paycheck to paycheck because they're not salaried employees. They're largely living off of the tips that they get. So that's certainly another way to support the restaurant workers, leaving a generous tip is an important thing to do right now because the restaurant worker, I mean, there's many people being very negatively affected by this whole thing, but restaurant workers, especially with the limited services now and the fact that many of them are out of work. So it's certainly important to support those local establishments and the wait staff and bartenders as well.
Yeah, these are the people that you know that are let's talk about the wait staff. These wait staff, what do they get? $5 an hour in tips. So you know, no tips. That's their pay. That is their pay. And thank goodness that they came up with the legislation to waive the 1 week wait time on unemployment, and they added a thing especially for restaurants. There's some great foundations. The Greg Hill Foundation, for one. Greg Hill, his foundation has a separate fundraiser just for restaurant staff. Your waiters, your bartenders, and so forth. These are people that don't have big incomes. They'll have one busy night, maybe two busy nights a week on their shifts, so their pay is always different. Hard to really forecast with your unemployment. And these are people they're gonna need help. They're gonna
Absolutely.
need the help. So do what you can. Get out there and support who's still out there. So hopefully, when this is over, they get a place to come back to go to work.
And from someone that's worked in the restaurant business in the past, they're some of the hardest working people you'll see as well. It is not an easy business, the restaurant business. It's very hard work, and you're really banking on having a good crowd to make good income on a week in week out basis. So it's hard work. They work very hard, and they need support right now. So get out to your local establishments, get some takeout delivery, and I believe the governor just okayed the restaurants to do takeout and delivery for beer and wine as well. So there's something else to keep in mind.
I know it. I know it. The bill was on his desk. I don't know if it's been signed yet, but that does include them. So now, not only are they getting rid of their food, their bottled beer and bottled wine, they'll be able to at least move that out too, because as you know, they all have life expectancy as well.
Right, absolutely. That wine goes bad after a while, so uh, it's it's good though. I feel like they're trying to make it so these businesses can survive and have ways to get some type of income to stay on their feet. Obviously, a lot of restaurants are unfortunately going to close because of this, but the most the community can do is go out there, do their part, and support their favorite local establishments.
So, Bob, have you been doing a lot of cooking, or have you gone out and get some takeout anywhere?
When it comes to cooking, it's usually I do more of the eating than I do of the cooking. The kitchen is pretty much a place I'm supposed to stay out of unless it needs to be cleaned. After that, I'm invited in all the time. Maybe you can explain to me, Mike, well, how are the local restaurants handling these orders? I know you can call them up and order, and they'll take your credit card online so you can pay that way. But I wouldn't think that you'd want to be handling cash coming up to pick up your package and then wait to make change and pass that back and forth. If I could just pull up and pick it up, or if they're delivering it, just pick it up, that would be a lot cleaner process. Is that how it works?
Yes, they're trying to limit. They keeping the restaurant off limits, and they will bring it to your curb, and it's usually one single person handling it. Some places, you know, you'll have the deliverer wearing the mask and gloves. I've helped out Cordell's doing deliveries, and I've actually brought the product just to the doorstep and just left it there. So they never got to see me, and it was easy. It was easy for everybody. And here's another thing: Cordell's is a cash only business, but now they will take credit cards because you can't get to banks to get money. People are stuck at home.
Unless, like you have a big pile of it in the closet or under the mattress.
Well, now I got to move all that cash. You told everybody where it is. Thanks, Bob.
I'm sure that new puppy would find it sooner or later. They'd be chewing it up.
Oh, she'll find it because I wind up spoiling her some crazy way. I'm trying to. So we're still waiting for Lisa to come in here, and I'm gonna. I just texted her. Oh, she's so sorry. She's been answering phone calls. I get there real quick, so I'm gonna make sure I send her the link. I'm sure Jim sent it to her already, but I'm going to forward that to her. So, Tom, what are some other shows you're going to be hosting this week?
Well, it's going to be a busy week for me. We got the Hopkinton Hillers head baseball coach, Steven Simoes, coming on for the 2:30 segment. He's going to talk about some off-season workouts that players could do to stay in shape. And obviously, we're hoping that there'll be a high school season this year. Right now, they are planning to start the season early May, and hopefully that'll hold true. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But he'll talk about some off-season workouts that players can do to stay in shape. And he's also going to talk about his website, um, coachsimos.com. It's a great blog about coaching, sports, and just life in general. So we'll have him talk about that. And then also this week, we're going to have Hopkinton resident Matt Reardon on tomorrow at 2 o'clock talking about the Red for Unity Facebook group, which is to support medical personnel in this difficult time, as well as support community and each other. It's a great Facebook page. So we'll have Hopkinton resident Matt Reardon talking about that tomorrow at 2. And then on Wednesday, I'll be talking with Hopkinton Public Library Director Heather Backman about books that you could read and the e-services available through the library. Obviously, right now the library is closed to the public, but there are some e-services available. So we certainly look forward to talking with Heather Backman on Wednesday at 2:30. And before the Heather interview, Matt's going to have Abby Rosenberg on for the 2 o'clock segment on Wednesday, talking about dealing with stress. So some great topics coming up with some great local guests, and we certainly look forward to doing this show for you every weekday at 2 p.m.
That's good to know. So, all right. So she's been sent the link, and she is coming. She's been on conference calls, and I mean, this is crazy enough to do this show for an hour. This is what she does all day. It's conference calls and video calls. So, but I want to thank her for taking the time, and we should be seeing her shortly. So, with that, also coming up, we'll have Amy Beckett, and she'll be talking to find out what our seniors are doing. Hopefully, it's not easy to go check on the seniors with this virus. Of course, seniors are most vulnerable, and you got to keep your distance. But maybe we'll find out from her some interesting ways they're staying in touch with their community, because as everyone knows, like all the town buildings are closed, and the senior center is one of them. So I don't know what they're doing to stay active. You can't, you know, be getting bus rides and going going to the malls to do your walking, um, or having their famous lunch. The $5 lunch down there is amazing. So I don't know. We'll find out next week to see what's going on with our seniors.
Absolutely. And just to mention this again, each and every show will be taking comments or questions for our guests or even for us via our Facebook page. Right now, there's a post at the top of our Facebook page. You could leave a comment or a question there. You could also do it on our YouTube live stream, or you can email studio@hcam.tv if you have any questions or comments for us or our guests.
And Mike, I know
Yes.
that the show from 2 to 3 is one of the most exciting hours on HCAM TV, but I wanted to remind everybody that there's binge watching from 3 to 8 every day, so you can pick up on a lot of the old shows that you've seen in the past. That'll be happening every week, every day
So
this week.
so right after this, who's on today? Do we know? You got your list up in front of you? Because that happens. That's why we go from 2 to 3, because the binge watching, we hope, continues from watching us. It's HMS Drama Productions. Thank you, Matt Clark. Whew, he's the guy who programs all those. So he came up. That's going to be on the Ed channel. So Verizon 31 and Comcast 96. So you'll get to see some drama productions from the schools, which we missed out. We missed out on two. Um, the high school, when this all hit, we're getting ready to film the high school concerts, middle school concerts, and the plays. So we get to see see some great productions, and I always love covering these productions, coming to this town, and I was a drama geek, believe it or not. I was a drama geek in school, and well, they weren't called drama geeks. I think we were called something that I don't think I can say on the air, but it was a very small group for a big high school, and I got the bug in my junior year, and then just loved it. And then I come out here and producing with John Ritz all these shows, and I tell you, this middle school drama club puts on a high school quality performance. These kids are amazing, and whenever I heard they're going to do, anything Shakespeare, it's like, oh, it's just kids remembering lines, and you know, these kids here played the part. They were fantastic. And then when you bring it to the high school level, the high school adds, like in sports, you get up there in years, and the performance is so much better. They are definitely college level performances. I've seen some great uh, musicals out of there. The voices, the singers that we have in the school, talented. There was one I can't remember the show, and Matt will probably come up with all the tap dances, the fleek offs. There was a whole group. There was 10 tap dancers on stage. I didn't know anyone tap danced anymore, and they were on stage with these musical numbers. It was great. Oh, that was Singing in the Rain, probably. Yes. You know what? I think you're right. It was probably Singing in the Rain.
Do you have any particular favorite ones that you've witnessed?
Yeah, I'll say, and I say this all the time, and I wish my pal Tommy Kana was listening, but it was definitely the Music Man, and that was a middle school production. And if anyone remembers the Music Man at all, it starts off on the train, and they do this acting the song to the rhythm of the train starting, going fast, and then slowing down to a stop back at the next station. And the rhythm that it was just awesome. But musicals are my favorite. I love a good musical, and uh, the Music Man is my favorite of all time. But my favorite middle school performance had to be that. And then, of course, The Wizard of Oz was another good one.
What are some of
I
the ones
just
that
enjoyed.
you What are some of the ones that you've been in back in your acting days?
Oh no, they were obscure, obscure one. One was written by a classmate of mine, Laurie Sinatra. It was called "Oh Dad, Poor Dad, Mom has hung you in the closet, and I'm feeling so sad." And I played the dad. I was a dead body. That was my role. I was more on the technical side. I was the stage manager for the club. Um, but it was about this rich woman that used to bring her husband's body with them everywhere they go, and she had a little mama's boy of a son, and it takes place at a tropical resort, and it's just a strange student-written thing. That was back in 1980 something or whatever.
Did you
So,
get
but
Did you get nominated for a Tony on that one?
as a matter of fact, I got nominated for a local award. Yes,
Oh
you
wow.
know. Yeah, I did. It was, but I think they did that to me as a joke because, all my only action was my son pulling me out of the closet. I fall into his arms, and he drags me and throws me into the bed. That's that was the only time you saw me on stage. Other than that, I was behind the stage with the headset on and making sure everyone was in their place and so forth, because I was the stage manager. But yeah, other than that, I was in nothing that I can't even remember the other things. We did a couple one act stuff, and yeah, it was more fun. It was, you know, like people who play sports. It's not about the game. It's not about the performance. It's the experience of all the practices and our case rehearsals or whatever, and the spaghetti dinners, all that stuff that's off screen that you don't see on stage or on the field. That's what made my time. It's not the shows.
Well, you're a man of many talents, Mike.
Yeah. And how many plays were you in, Tom?
Zero. I wasn't really
Zero.
a play kind of guy.
Uh huh.
I
I'm
filmed some
guessing.
of them though.
I'm guessing sports more than anything.
I did a lot of sports announcing back in my school days. Did play some sports as well, but then went into more of the broadcasting side.
Okay, yeah, I did a little in junior high. I did band, and then I went to a Voc school, Northeast Voc, up at Wakefield, and there was really nothing going on, so I stopped playing football. Um, and then I went back to Malden High to finish, and I worried more about electronics. But that's why it was. I fell into it by mistake because my electronics teacher uh, was sitting around with and these drama guys, and uh, the teacher says, "Hey, Mike, come here, read this line here." He hands me a book, and I got stuck there ever since. It was pretty cool. But hey, listen, so Lisa hasn't found us yet, so um, I see Coach Simons is in our waiting room. And before we go to the waiting room, I was hoping Matt Clark can maybe join us and give us a little uh, insider update. See if he's available for that or not. Matt,
Hello.
there you are.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Well, you guys basically covered it a few minutes ago with who we're expecting on the hangout hours. Um I don't think there's really anything else to share that unless I missed something, right?
So what you know what plays are lined up today on the binge hour?
Yes. At 3 o'clock, it is going to be the 2017 production of Children of Eden,
Oh yes.
and then, yep. And then at about 5:15, 5:15 to 5:20, because they're airing one right after the other, um, is the 2018 production of Annie, and then right after that, to finish off the block, is the following fall's production of Peter and Wendy.
Oh, Peter and Wendy, that was very good.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very good play. Were you? You weren't in that one, were you? You were in Peter and Wendy.
No, these are recent ones.
Those are
we
the more
didn't-
recent. It's okay, yeah. What plays
Yeah.
were you in, Matt? What plays were you in?
Oh, I was in a lot. I started doing theater in 7th grade, and I did it throughout from then on through college. So
Gotcha.
probably more than I could really name.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that, Matt. And Tom, why don't you go ahead and bring us in?
All right, goodbye.
All right. Well, we are going to have Hopkinton Hillers head baseball coach Steven Simoes joining us to talk about some off-season workouts and drills that players can do. Obviously, with the social distancing, there's no sports happening right now, and I believe he is here. Steven, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Very good. So first off, can you talk about what you and your family have been doing to keep yourselves occupied during this period of social distancing?
Mostly eating. It hasn't been great for the diet, but yeah, it's in certain respects it's fun. We have everybody home. We have both of my sons are home from college. They're pretty busy doing their online work. Um, my wife also works in a school. She's doing her online stuff as well. So we have our moments of um, schoolwork, but mostly it's taking some walks and a lot of Netflix for me.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are doing that nowadays. What are some of the shows you've been binge watching?
I'm addicted to The Office, and also been watching a lot of. I'm not a movie watcher, but I've been starting to watch a lot of movies that I've been getting into. So, um, not the healthiest use of my time, but I am getting an opportunity to do some reading, which I rarely get to do during the school year.
How about the Tiger King? You must be right into the Tiger King.
No, I just saw the preview for it, but I haven't seen it yet.
I feared once you saw the mullets, you'd be just jumping right in on it.
Yeah, bring back to my 70s days.
So obviously right now there's unfortunately no spring sports going on. So we want to ask you about what are some of the drills, workouts you could recommend for baseball or softball players to keep in shape for what hopefully will be a shortened season at the very least during this stretch away from the field.
Yeah, I've been in touch with the kids. We've done one of these Zooms and just kind of letting them know to mostly stay strong, trying to encourage them to do, and not just my baseball players, kind of all the kids in my classes, creating some indoor or driveway workout facilities. Um, we posted some pictures of what they can do. Um, my sons have continued their workouts, their off-season training in our driveway, and sometimes that creativity is good. For the baseball players, I really mostly worry about their arms if we do have a season, that they continue to try to find a partner to throw, and they can no longer use the fields or things for hitting. So hanging a net, hanging a curtain, doing some of our basic drills, but mostly just take advantage of the time to get stronger, eating well, and realizing there's a lot more important things than our baseball season.
Most certainly. Um, I think you mentioned that you've kept in touch with some of the players. But could you talk about how those conversations went? How the players are feeling? Obviously, I'm sure they're quite depressed right now that there's no sports going on. But can you talk about how they're doing overall?
Yeah, they were good. I was excited because I just told some of the, obviously we haven't even had tryouts, so kind of hard to communicate with kids who had not been in the program or were trying out for the program. So I just basically invited the seniors and told them to spread it around, and whoever wanted to pop on to the Zoom. And we ended up having about 38 kids. We had former players showed up online. It was good to see them. They're in, uh, our kids are remarkable. So they're in good spirits. Obviously, everybody feels the most for the seniors. Uh, just such a disruption to the best time of their life. And, um, it hits me every once in a while that it's a possibility that I won't coach or teach those kids anymore. I only teach seniors as well. So um, that's kind of heartbreaking if I don't have that final few months with any of those kids, especially some of the players I've been with 2 or 3 years. To not have that final time with them would be really very sad.
Well, hopefully, we'll at the very least we'll get some type of shortened season, get some games going this spring. But obviously, that will be a wait and see situation.
Yeah.
For someone that perhaps lost the chance to play in their senior year, what would you say to them? What would your advice be?
Um, well, that's a lot of what we did in our meeting. We did a lot of our most of our practices start in the classroom with life lesson type things anyway. So we talked about advantage through adversity, and how they can make um, the best of this kind of situation. There's a lot of really positive things happening right now where kids are forging some relationships or doing some things they wouldn't otherwise have done. In terms of giving them advice, it's different for each kid because I have some kids who, like a Jack Breslin, who is one of our captains, but he's not aspiring to be a college baseball player. He's going to be an airline pilot one day. He's already um, a licensed pilot. So for him, this is his only baseball experience. So when I talk to somebody like Jack, it's not about how to prepare for next year. A Tommy Ambrosoni and Alex Barker Hook, for example, they're going to be playing college baseball. They need to approach it as they would an injury, where they need to keep themselves sharp, figure out what they're going to do in summer baseball. So it's different for each kid, as it usually is during the year. Every kid goes into it with different goals and different objectives. We're not trying to churn out major leaguers, but you have to kind of tailor your message to the kids that are in front of you.
And speaking of summer ball, do you think that with either a shortened season or a cancellation in its entirety of the high school spring season, that this could have maybe a positive impact on the summer leagues? Do you think participation could increase in summer leagues like Babe Ruth, Legion Ball, or Club Ball because athletes are just itching to get on the field and play some competitive ball?
Um, I don't think so. I think the kids who play summer ball anyway. Um, a lot of the others that don't play summer ball, for us, for example, it's because they're maybe preparing for um, their upcoming football or soccer season. So I think the kids' summer is going to be what it has always been. Maybe a few kids who only play one sport, but most of them, if they're baseball players that look to play beyond, they're already going to be all set in what they do. If they're um, multi-sport athletes, they're probably moving on to the next sport. I know when I was in high school, I only had a few hours between sports, so you just picked up and moved on to the next one. They're way more resilient than we are.
And I know the athletic directors have been in meetings with the MIAA about what's going on, but has there been any meetings with the MIAA on the coaches side at all?
No, unfortunately, they kind of dictate to us. Our athletic director is outstanding, so he's really willing to listen. I put together a proposal um, for a shortened season, and I sent it to him, just asking that he would run it in front of the athletic directors. Um, so at least our voice would be our voice would be heard, and they're making decisions with the people that have to run it. I just hope they allow us to do, if we're allowed at all to come out of quarantine or go back to school. I'm hoping they don't take the path of least resistance. They allow us to at least be with the kids in some way, shape, or form. Um, but like I said, a lot of things develop. It gave me time to propose a whole new transformation for the Tri Valley League season, even in a normal year. Not that anybody will listen to me, but I have a great proposal.
I think they're listening, Steve.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. Well, we'll see.
So you also have a website going, um, coachsimos.wordpress.com, and you post about sports coaching and uh, kind of related to life as a whole. Could you talk about your website and what inspired you to create it?
Um, I wasn't really inspired to make a website since I didn't know how to make a website, but uh, I do a lot of writing. I have volumes of stuff that I've written to prepare for my seasons and things that I share with my kids. It's just nobody's ever really seen any of my writing except for me. Um, and a few people just said I should, put it on a website and it might be interesting. So I played around with it and started posting, and I was shocked to see how many people actually go online and read stuff. And then they were asking, and basically, it's good therapy for me. I like writing down things like that. The only drawback in retirement, I'll find it a lot easier because I'll be able to offer my opinions a little bit more clearly. Right now, I have to be a little bit careful as a teacher to not be too controversial.
So,
My web,
Coach, was that a teaser, Coach?
what's that?
A retirement thing? Am I hearing something?
No, you gotta
Okay.
get rid of me that quick. So,
All right, good.
because I would be writing a lot about politics. That's my other favorite sport. But I can't do that because I have to can't put my opinions out there while I'm instructing kids. So I do that under pen names on the Boston Globe and New York Times and things like that. So my thoughts are out there. You just have to know my handle to to get them.
Absolutely. And what are some of the messages that you hope to get out there with these posts on your website?
Well, we have a poster in our program that has all of our values on. It's a poster of baseballs and our values are on it. Hangs in my classroom. Kids all have it, and one of the ones I've had since the inception. Some of my first team, Jay Golden played for me years and years ago, and he's one of my coaches. Mark Sanborn played for me; he's one of my coaches. And Josh Hanna is my boss, and he played for me. Um, but those themes have evolved, but many of them are still there. One of them that's always been there is free practice for life. That this is kind of a baseball is kind of a low stakes opportunity to practice for life. And that was kind of the impetus for the website as well, where um, most of the messages are about not the X's and O's of the sport. Um, Actually, there's kind of a funny story with that. My intention. I have a lot of articles in the on deck circle ready to go, but they're all about baseball because I expected the people that were going to be reading the website were going to be coaches. Um, and that wasn't the case. As soon as I posted my first one, most of the replies were from Hopkinton moms and some dads and very few, very few coaches. So I didn't think there were that many local moms that cared that much about bunt defense. So I've those are in the hopper for another type of website. So most of the things I do are about just behavior and values and kind of old school stuff that I believe in that it might be out of the mainstream for people now. I'm not a big self celebration person in terms of celebrating your home runs, or I'm one of those hand the football to the ref guys. So a lot of it kind of stems from that, stems from how I was coached and how I was taught. So I guess that the older you are, the more you understand my articles. So,
Well, it's a great website, and the articles are very insightful, and I feel like kind of gives you the mentality when you're a coach, when you're an athlete, um, in different situations, and I like the fact that you kind of relate a lot of what happens in sports to what happens in life. I think it's a very nice website.
thank you very much.
So you mentioned that you pitched a proposal for a shortened season, and we're certainly hoping there is one. Can you let us know about any of the details that you had in that proposal?
I just I just think that and like I said, it's it's something that I would prefer that the league did all the time. In other words, you want to play as many games as possible. So they're trying to figure out how many they can play. So we have 12 teams in our league. So their initial thought is you play everybody once and play an 11 game schedule, or you just play the teams on your side twice, and that would be a 10 game schedule. And those are all reasonable. My thinking would be, and I think it would be great for the league, is if everybody just played everybody on their side once, 5 games, and after that we seeded the teams, um, so that on the large side you'd have a team seeded 1 through 6 based on those 5 games and tiebreakers or whatever, and then you'd from there you'd play like an NCAA type tournament format. So maybe 1 and 2 get buys, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. You can do a lot of these games at one site. Hopkinton, we have turf, we could host, and some lights, we could host 3 games. You'd have the entire league around, all culminating to like a championship Saturday where the teams that didn't make the championship cross over and play each other. And then at night under the lights, you have a TVL championship game. You'd still play the same amount of games. It would take to do what I want to do would take about 9 or 10 total games, but it would be 9 or 10 total games where every team would be um, alive to win a championship, so to speak, the whole year. It would be great for the league. It'd be great bonding. I think it would be good. I think it would be unique and a good publicity for the league as well. I think our kids would get great coverage, and I think you could do that every single year. Every year you could make it so every I did another one for the regular season where it would be a 15 game. Everybody would be guaranteed to play 15 games, which allows you to go out and get 3 or 4, 5 non-league games if you wanted to, and still have a league. You could have a regular season champion and a tournament champion. But I think the tournament would be really exciting for kids, because in any given year, we were fortunate last year to make it to the state championship. But in any given year, there's maybe 1 or 2 teams from our league that would have a shot at winning a section or a state championship. This would give every team a chance to win a championship, to play competitive games, and I think it would build, league camaraderie.
And the MIAA mentioned that if the season starts in May, which right now is the proposed date, that it would just be regular season games pretty much with league championships rather than state championships. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the state tournament that ship has sailed. I think that's done. So now it's basically up to whatever the individual leagues want to do. My proposal came from the fact that rather than play 10 games and say, okay, you won the most games, you're the league champion, make it interesting, give the kids that tournament excitement. I think it would be, I think Ashland's playing Holliston at Hopkinton High in a semifinal. I think you'd get teams from kids from all those teams, coaches. It would be a great atmosphere, and give the kids that, especially these seniors that don't have an opportunity. But even if we had the state tournament, how many kids are really playing that special game? What I was saying to Rich Cormier was, even if they tried to salvage the tournament, I don't want them to salvage the state tournament, because after one day, half the teams in the state are eliminated. And now you have all those beautiful weather days of June, and half the teams are no longer playing, and then 3/4 of the teams. It makes no sense. Keep everybody playing throughout June, at least this year, and take advantage of the weather, take advantage of the fact that we haven't played any baseball.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the most important thing would be just getting the kids, especially the seniors, some type of experience out there on the field this year.
Yep. I've already mapped out a intra squad, keeping 3. If they don't give us a season, keeping 3, making a green, a white, and an orange team, and having our own Hiller playoffs with umpires, and have my assistants be head coaches of the other teams, and I'll oversee the games and teach and play and practice during the week and play doubleheaders on the weekends. And so I got a lot of time on my hands with just creating all this stuff. So,
well, if you did that, I think we'd certainly be there to cover it for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's certainly a difficult situation for the athletes, especially the seniors, but we're certainly hoping that some baseball will take place.
Yeah, I had the whole spring mapped out, watching my 2 sons play in college. I had the weekend schedule around our games, and so I'm depressed.
Hey Steve, while you're working on that format of baseball, can you work on the format of football, please? So that make the Thanksgiving Day games mean something again.
Yeah, there's nobody no more vocal about that. That should be on my website. I think they've ruined high school football with that. It's crazy.
It's been how many years now that's been like that?
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Well,
It just I coached, I think, 18 total years at Hopkinton. There was nothing, whether we were good, bad, or indifferent, there was nothing better than Thanksgiving Day. And they've taken the steam out of that.
Yeah, you see it. I mean, I think number one, I think you see it on the sidelines too, was from a fan perspective, because of course, the better the weather, the more fans you're gonna get out, and you can even see the atmosphere from a fan point of view change. That
Right.
the games don't mean anything anymore. This year was a good year because, okay, we beat them, and Ashland wound up winning the Super Bowl. I thought that was great, but you know, Thanksgiving it's just there. People are just like, oh yeah, we'll look at that play, and I'd rather just talk and find my old alumni.
Yeah, and our kids played great that day, and we're all pumped up, and all they had to hear was, yeah, Ashland sat their starters, and it's just not a good situation. That's another pet peeve when guys sit their starters to me. I remember
Absolutely.
back in 93, 94, 95, those people were standing three deep all around both sidelines and end zones. It was so special. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. So we'll work on that. I mean, we got plenty of time. Obviously, you're not going anywhere soon. So add that to your list for me, will you?
Yeah. All you gotta do is get somebody to listen to something.
In case you're just joining us, we're talking with Hopkinton Hillers varsity baseball coach Steven Simoes. If you have any questions or comments you want to get out there, feel free to get them out on our Facebook page. We have a post right at the top of the page. You can ask questions or comment on. Also, the YouTube live stream, the chat in the YouTube live stream. You can leave questions or comments, or you can email studio@hcam.tv. Speaking of the MIAA tournament, the MIAA recently voted for a statewide format to the tournament, I believe in every sport. What are your thoughts on the statewide tournament format?
I think I'm in the minority there because I love it. And I'm from Connecticut, and we've always had a statewide tournament. And I never bought the fact that it was that big of a deal with travel. I understand if Pittsfield has to play Provincetown, that's a little bit of an issue, but that could be part of your seating. You could eliminate early round travel of that excess. But it's really strange. The year we won the state title in 2004, I believe the state title game was our seventh, and our opponents, it was their fourth, um, because they came from a West or Central that had four teams in their sectional championship. It's just you're playing for the same title, um, and you're following two or three or four different sets of rules. I understand the sectional, um, the pride. I love the sectional title. I loved our sectional. We've been fortunate to be in the sectional finals a bunch of times in baseball and softball, and that's great if they balance the sections. If they move the line over and there were the same number of teams in every section, I would be okay with that. But I like the state. I like the state format. I also like the fact that um, the kids get to play in a state tournament, and you're playing a school you've never heard of, from way up north. You're not playing the same teams from your league, or I really like that. I love the fact that you're kind of going out west and you're representing your section and your program. Anything that gives the kids kind of a special feel, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I guess you could call me in the minority too on this. I actually love the idea. And I think one of the biggest problems have been throughout high school sports is the fact that right now the sections are so uneven. And one in hockey, for example, in the South, you got 21 teams in the D3 South sectionals. Meanwhile, in the Central, you got 8. So the teams in the South are playing 2 or 3 more games than the teams in the Central.
Yeah.
And I thought last year when the Hillers went to the state championship, they looked pretty tired out there, and they played well. It was a great game, but they looked pretty tired. Meanwhile, they were playing in Wachusett, who only had to play about 3 playoff games. So I think evening out the playoffs is important too, and I feel like the state tournament format could really help with that.
I could verify. My son verbalized to me he had nothing left. He had no legs. With all the emotion and all the adrenaline and playing so many games, he played. I thought he played his worst game of the year in the final game of the year, which is kind of sad. It's also not fair to the teams out west. It's a state tournament and you get to play 2 games. It's better for everybody, I think.
Absolutely, and hopefully they'll do it right, and we'll have even playoff runs where you don't have one team playing 6 games and another team playing 3 games
Yeah,
to get to the same place.
I agree.
Well, hopefully we'll be back to normal by next fall and get a look at that statewide format. Actually, I believe it's 2021. It'll come into effect, so it won't be next season, but it should certainly be interesting going forward. And I agree with you about the travel. I don't think it's too big of a deal. I mean, it's pretty much every other state is playing a state format type of playoffs, so I don't
Yeah,
see why it should be a problem here.
no, it's not. It's if it is a problem, it's easily overcome.
All right, Coach. Well, we thank you for joining us today, and you could hear more from Coach Simoes at his website, coachsimos.wordpress.com. Some great posts up there. Are you going to be having any more posts coming up in the coming days?
I think so. I'm reading the Billy Martin book right now, so it's got me kind of fired up. So I'm going to,
Oh
yeah,
boy.
I
Oh
think I'm gonna
boy.
yeah. So I have some time, so I think I will do some writing. And we're doing a lot of trying to prepare to teach online, so it's a little confusing, a little difficult, but we're working on that this week.
Oh, and actually, while we have a few minutes, could you talk about what it's going to be like doing the classes online? Just the type of format? Is it going to be a chat situation like we're in right now, or how's it? What's it going to be like?
Yeah, it's going to be a mixture. So far I've used, I think it's called Photo Booth. I kind of videotaped myself teaching live, and then sent out that video. Now, once they didn't allow the teachers to go into the school anymore, that became difficult, hard to do from your couch. Um, so now I've been making videos using PowerPoints, and once a week with each class, we're going to have a Zoom format, where the kids could interact and ask questions. We'll have specific office hours. They just literally before I came on with you put the schedule together. Um, put the schedule together for when the classes are going to meet with us and all that. And I was just asking, my two sons are both taking online classes, so I'm asking, trying to pick the brains of their professors and see how they're doing it, what they like, what they don't like. So,
Well, that should certainly keep you busy in the
yeah,
coming weeks.
yeah.
And we actually just had a question sent in from Larry Sacklad.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
he wants to know, how do you feel about your son leading the country in fielding percentage at Army? I'm not sure if that was a serious question or not, knowing Larry now that I'm reading it.
Yeah,
But
it was. It was. He does. Uh, yeah, Timmy was having a great year. They played 15 games down south, so he got to have some pretty good experiences. He was down at Texas A&M. I got to see him down at Duke, and guess what Larry is referring to is I think he had top near most chances in the country without an error. He didn't make any errors, and he was off to a
Excellent.
pretty good. He was off to a good start. So yeah, I'm proud of him, but it didn't take fielding percentage.
Larry said he had no errors.
No, he didn't. He had no errors. No.
That's pretty incredible. Well,
Yeah.
we certainly hope that there's some type of season this year. But in any case, we thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
All right. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Coach.
See
Appreciate
you
it.
later.
That was head coach of the Hopkinton Hillers varsity baseball team, Steven Simoes. And we certainly hope we'll see some spring sports in the coming weeks, but obviously time will tell. We don't know what the situation is going to be. We're hoping right now that we'll have sports by May, but it'll certainly be a wait and see situation. I want to remind everybody that the Hopkinton Hangout Hour does return tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. We'll have Matt Reardon on from the Red for Unity Facebook group. Matt Reardon is a Hopkinton resident, and as well as possibly Dr. Carol Kavanaugh on as well. And we have many other great interviews coming up throughout the week right here on the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. And for more information on the Hopkinton Hangout Hour, as well as everything going on in Hopkinton, you can head over to our website, hcam.tv. But that is just about going to do it for this afternoon's edition. For everyone at HCAM, I'm Tom Nappy. We thank you for joining us. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye, everybody.